What's going on, people? I've seen some stuff popping up in the past couple of days, and I thought I'd touch on it too because, seeing as I am retired from trucking now. Now, it does bring up the question, though, what is going to happen to so many things? See if we can kind of do a broad stroke across. I'll try to keep this short. It's been going on for several months, and I did come across some different figures, and I'll spitball them out here a little bit, that rail workers for some time now have been stretched work-wise and stuff, that pre-pandemic, or even, well, maybe well before, I'm forgetting the exact time of what this was. Anyway, there was once over 500,000 rail workers, conductors, trainmen, and talking Union Pacific, BNSF, any other, I think those are the two biggest ones. And you got, other ones that branch off from that and everything around the country regionally and all that kind of stuff. I'm not super privy to everything within the railways, but of course they move a ton of freight. They can move in bulk. Basically, they can move in one rail car. They move about 3 times the product that a truck will, typically. But they stretch across everything from retail, bulk, agriculture, tanker cars, hauling everything under the sun, from fuels, of course, ethanol, different oils and everything too, vegetable oil, all kinds of stuff. And those rail cars hold almost 30,000 gallons per rail car. It's like 28,700 gallons per rail car usually. And then too, they're being hauled on rail. I don't know if they have weight specifications for the rail that they need to worry about, like trucks have to traveling down the highway. But I know tanker cars, whatever they're hauling, can be, like I said, almost 30,000 gallons they can haul in each rail car. Bulk stuff they can haul in standard rail cars. And then you got of course, all the containers they haul that otherwise can be hauled by trucks, which isn't, the rail, especially if it's product that doesn't need to be there right away. It's not milk, it's not perishable. And there are reefer cars as well, I know that. And then reefer trailers will get hauled on rail as well. But the railways haul roughly 40% of all goods in the United States. So that's a huge portion. Let's go over here to this real quick. I came across this ad. I was watching some other reports on this and everything too, that the White House got involved. 2 largest freight rail unions split their votes on agreeing to a contract Monday, a mixed signal in a months-long high-stakes negotiation that would lead to shutdowns of the nation's freight rail network starting next month. December 5th is when they're calling for it right here, December 5th. After negotiations and stuff, it gives a cooling off period, but three of the 10 railways already rejected the proposal. So they're trying to broker new deals. Now, here's a crazy thing. When you go into the numbers of what a strike in the railways would do to the rest of the transportation sector, trucking, boat, and plane, it would be huge. And I saw one report, now again, I couldn't find it again, but spitballing numbers, that if the railways actually shut down, immediately you would need, just on the highways of America, 99 million trucks to cover that deficit. So if all the railway workers walked off first week, like there'd be a slowdown, everything, of course, shelves would start going empty. All the fuels that get hauled, they're not getting delivered anymore to all these bulk depots and stuff that you would need. So, but the slowdown in the movement of freight in this country would be astronomical. You're talking 40% if the railway shut down. How many trucks now being in trucking? Well, kind of formally now, I guess. What would that mean? All of a sudden, rates through the roof. Truck time. All of a sudden, we go from one end where it was so bad, flip immediate 180 all the other way, where the phones would be ringing off the hook for trucks to take freight. Rates would go up. I'd be willing to bet there'd be so many trucks on the road sucking up diesel fuel too. Oh, we got fuel shortages. Fuel prices would go through the roof, all this kind of stuff too, and the rates would go even higher, ultimately being passed down to the consumer. What you were paying $5 for last week, now you're paying 15. You know, there's nothing good about this. It would just snowball and compound an already deteriorating situation in our country with supply chain shortages and the fuel going up, and already, you know, trucking's in shambles right now. And like I said, if rail workers went on strike, oh man, it'd be like every truck driver going on strike. Now, the numbers you can say about the railways, they have far less people working on the railways than truckers. Okay, there's over 3 million trucks on the road in the US, and there's roughly 3 million truck drivers. There's at one point there was over 500,000 railway workers. Post COVID, it went down to like 250,000, and then it's an estimated there are less than 200,000 rail workers in the US today, which, considering how much stuff they move. Now, when you see a train, of course, and it's super long and it's hauling a bunch of stuff, each one of those rail cars represents a truck, one truck per rail car almost, you know, unless, and then you can break it down too that maybe 2 trucks per rail car that you would need. And that freight is moving cross country. So, you know, I'm like I said, I'm just spitballing here. Anybody can tap in here too with more legit numbers and stuff, but it would take an estimated 99 million trucks to cover all the rail freight if it were to shut down, because you would need so many more trucks to move all that freight. And it's just ridiculous. So if you have a truck, maybe you're kind of partially saying, okay, yeah, go for it. Strike on, man. You know, let's do it. But in this regard, it would crush the economy. People would hurt for it. You know, just like I was talking last week, if truckers don't like the rates, shut it down. Sometimes you got to do it. You know, like I said, it's one way and the other. I don't want to see people suffer for it, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. What was that old line? Sometimes doing the right thing ain't doing the right thing. I don't know. But the already having a shortage of rail workers though is bad enough, and we would see catastrophe come out of something like this. So yeah, they almost had a deal back in September. It got kicked back. The remaining unions do not accept an agreement. Congress should be prepared to act and avoid a disastrous $2 billion a day hit to our economy. I saw another thing. It was even more than that. It was like 20 billion a day if the railways aren't moving and moving freight, because all of a sudden everything, you know, within a week's time is going to be cleared out. There's going to be runs on stores, going to be runs on gas, going to be runs on everything. And everybody's going to be sitting around with their dick in their hand going, crap, I don't have anything, dude. So it's something to really keep an eye on too for your own protection. If you hear about the railway strike is going to happen, you better get down to the store and stock up on some stuff, you know, basic foods and necessities and everything, top off your tank, all this kind of stuff, because it will be an ongoing thing of watching the country fall apart. So I like that t-shirt over there. I'm saying F your feelings. So, join the Texas Department of Criminal Justice today. Go be a corrections officer. Yeah, that'd be great. I almost became a corrections officer once. It's like, nah, I'm good. When you want to go work in an industry, it's like a guy going to work at a women's shelter. You know what I mean? They have more rights than you, but you want to work there? Nope. You're going to get accused of everything. I would not be a corrections officer. No, thank you. No, I went to be a CO in California. I went to the Corrections Academy in California, and it's been over 20 years ago, but kind of a funny thing that once I read, it's basically was called a like an inmate's bill of rights. I forget, it was like article something, you know, that they have more rights than me, and I'm not a criminal. I was like, what the hell? Like they can accuse me of anything. They can haul me on the mat, make me lose my job just because they want to point a finger. I got to go to court constantly and everything and prove my innocence. And it's like, screw that, dude. Because they know how to work the system and everything. And the system gives more and more to them of concessions and stuff. And it's like, no thanks. I want nothing to do with it. So, like they're claiming here, yes, they're trying to avert a rail strike, but I'd see it too on a political stance. It would just speed up their own agenda of running everything into the ground currently as we see it. That I'm just looking at the article over here in this video. I didn't watch the video, but of course, this broad, she's going to be up there talking about, no, we're working effectively to not have this happen, blah, blah, blah. But if it happens, bonus, because the country goes further into garbage, and what do they care? And then on the other hand, if it gets averted, they look like heroes. So either way, they can push whatever twisted agenda that they've got planned out to just ruin us. So, but yeah, they're looking by December 5th. This could all be going down. What's next? 3 unions have previously voted no to a deal, but negotiations are continuing and vote could be called again before December 5th when the earliest cooling off period ends. Okay. Congress is not in session until November 29th. Talk about, these people ever work? We vote them in, they make a lot of money, but when do you ever hear about them actually working? You'd think the business of the country and the world for that matter would have you there, 18 hours a day, but I guess not. Shipments of hazardous and security sensitive materials, including chemicals for drinking water, fertilizers, and hospital grade disinfectants, were halted 4 days before a potential strike in September. And the same would likely happen again. Yeah. Who's going to show up if it all goes downhill? Chemicals used to purify drinking water in healthcare settings as disinfectants could also be curtailed days ahead of a possible strike. Yeah, because everything stops moving. If they know the strike's coming, even a few days ahead of time, nobody's going to go anywhere because they're planning on going home. They're not going to be out on the train and then try to come back. You know what I mean? Retail industry would suffer. Yes, Vice President of Supply Chain Jess Dankert. This year's holiday gifts have already landed on store shelves, but an interruption to rail transportation does pose a significant challenge to getting items like perishable food products and e-commerce shipments delivered on time, and it would undoubtedly add to the inflationary pressures already hitting the U.S. economy. Yep, so that was the end of that. Anyway, an imminent rail strike is what I've seen. Is it imminent? We're going to see. What would that do to trucking? What would that do to boats? And air freight as well. That's got to get covered somewhere. And if the rails shut down, I think if the rails actually shut down, it'd be for a very short minute. That couple of weeks time that they shut down for about a month, get out and take advantage until they get back up and cranking again. And, but then too, if the rails actually shut down, all the rail cars and all the yards out there, they'd all be sitting there with product on them. Probably because they just stopped shipping one day. It was stuff that was already on its way and they just shut down. So yeah, crazy, man. So I mean, if something like this does happen, how crazy would it be to see like trucking rates just blow through the roof overnight. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm making $2 a mile, and then it goes back to, wow, I'm making $10 a mile. Holy crap! No, grab it while you can, because the country can't absorb a shutdown like this. It's going to ruin it, and hopefully we avert it, and hopefully everybody finds a way out of it before it gets too bad. I can see, like I said, if you own a truck right now and you can go make that money, cool. You know, more work than you know what to do with for a short period of time until they get this straightened out. But ultimately, hopefully it gets averted. So I don't know. It's all going to hell anyway, so who gives a shit? So on that note, be prepared. I'm just bringing this as awareness as well, that if the railways go down coming by December 5th, you're going to want to have food in the bank. You know, fill up your gas tank. If you hear it's coming, go down the store, start loading up, dude, because you're going to look at needing to maintain you and yours, you know, your household for a little bit, because I guarantee everybody else is going to make a run on the stores and the gas stations and all that kind of stuff and try to clean up whatever they can. It's going to be 2020 all over again with the toilet paper and all that kind of stuff. So right now, you got a couple of weeks to plan. If you're going out and picking up a few extra things, pick up some extra canned goods, pick up whatever. So, you know, like I said, I've got food and storage at the house here. I got rice and beans and canned meats and I've got freezers full of meat and everything like that. So we can hold off for a while, but if nobody else is really planning anything, keep it in mind. So on that note, like, share, subscribe. Right?
Right. You all done?
What are you doing? Just about. So anyway, like, share, subscribe. Please subscribe. Let's go ahead and get this going now that we're going to make new kinds of content and everything. Got my voice. So on that note, we'll check back later. Out.